It is Saturday, August 5th, 2023. Look who made an appearance here. It is Jimmy. I don't know if Jimmy's ever been on the show. If he has, it's been a long time. But anyways, here's Jimmy. He's huge. How big he is. So Jimmy wanted to jump up here and say hi today. Again, Saturday, August 5th, 2023. A lot to talk about. I'm going to put Jimmy down. There you go. I want to get right into this video today. Jimmy's all over the place. But we do have a lot to talk about. It's quite serious. I went over some data points today I want to share with everybody. And, you know, some people might say, hey, I'm repeating the same stuff. This is repetitive. But guess what? There are new people tuning in today that do not understand this. If you know what's going on, if you have all the answers, then there's no need to continue this video. But for people out there that don't have all the answers, that don't have all the data, maybe this is something new that you haven't heard before. But I printed up some articles today, and I'm going to give you my opinion. Love to hear your opinion and your thoughts. Comment down below. But as most of you know, America's credit rating just a couple days ago got downgraded from a AAA to a AA. Average credit card rate in America right now, 24.58%. In 2008, that rate was 13.57%. So for anybody that wants to compare what is happening today to 2008, you really can't, because things are so much worse now in 2023 versus 2008. Look at the debt back in 2008, $10 trillion. I checked the federal debt clock today. We are now surpassing $32.6 trillion of debt. Credit card debt has now exceeded $1 trillion. It's around $1.2 trillion. Auto debt, $1.6 trillion. Student loan debt, $1.7 trillion. And this stuff is spiraling out of control. I looked at bankrate.com today, 30-year fixed mortgage rate, 7.38%. And that's if you have great credit. That's if you have 20% down. How are people, and this is a question that I don't have an answer, maybe you do, but how are people going to keep their homes? Look what they're contending against. Rising inflation, rising debt, no savings, job losses, auto repos. They're wiping out their retirements just to tread water at this point. The list goes on. How in the world are people going to keep their homes when they're contending against so many things? This is way worse than 2008, ladies and gentlemen. In fact, I think we're going to see a time where this is going to be worse than the Great Depression. Bloomberg, 40% of all U.S. mortgages were originated in 2020 or 2021. Most of these people don't have $400. And that raises another question. What if a homeowner has an emergency? And we know that most people in this country don't even have $400 saved up. But they own a home. They own a car. They have a subscription to Netflix. They go to Starbucks. They buy a lot of dumb stuff, but they don't have $400 saved up. What is going to happen to these people when they have a minor accident, a speed bump, when life happens? What are they going to do? Well, more than likely, they're going to turn to another credit card and get deeper into debt. But how long does this go on before something breaks? The hedge today, how Wall Street is killing the American dream. There is no doubt Wall Street wants your home. They want your house. It says here, 1 in 4 buyers of single-family homes in 2022 were Wall Street investment firms like BlackRock. You have to consider this. The average American does not have the type of cash that these Wall Street firms have. These firms, these massive banks, can buy houses cheaper than you because they can go to a developer or to a builder and say, we're going to buy all 100 of your homes. We're going to buy all 500 of your homes. We're going to buy all 1,000 of your homes. Give us a discount. Give us 10% off, 20% off. We'll buy all 1,000 of them. The average American cannot compete with this. This really didn't start taking place till about 2010. This should be banned. It should be illegal. There's no way that we should have institutional money competing against the average consumer, average American in the housing market. Is this good for America? Ask yourself that. Having institutional money competing against you and I, is this good for America? Is this good for the real estate market? Is this good for the US economy? Absolutely not. Remember, this helped create the biggest housing bubble on planet Earth because these investment firms, these banks were able to go in and outbid you and I. They could go in and offer $50, $100, $1 million above asking price, whatever their heart desired they could do because they have endless amounts of cash. And so there is no competition to them because they can offer whatever they want. They can buy an entire development, an entire neighborhood. And so when you offer, say a house is $400,000 and an investment firm comes in or institutional money comes in and says, look, we'll give you $450 for this house instead of $400. That's over 10% of the asking price. So what does that do to the comps? It pushes the comps up. And then on top of that, helping all this to create even a bigger bubble, you had the Fed buying mortgage-backed securities at the same time, creating an even bigger bubble. As institutional buying continues, this is going to give these firms and these banks more power over rents and over prices. This should not be allowed, in my opinion. Corporate ownership of single-family residences is around 5% right now, but MetLife Investment Management indicates institutional owners will own upwards of 40% of the rental homes in 2030. Wow, that's not that far away. So, you know, they'll say, well, yeah, they only own 5%, so it's not that big of a deal. But look at the momentum that these firms are gaining in the real estate market. And so we'll be dependent on them to rent a home or an apartment through one of these firms. And if this is allowed to continue, Americans are going to be no more than renter serfs. Renter serfs to the big banks, to the big investment firms, to Wall Street. Renter serfs, ladies and gentlemen. That's what it's coming to. And people can laugh at this and believe it's not happening, but it is happening. You know, the people that laugh the most are the people who are the most broke, which I find pretty shocking. The people that will comment and say that this is doom and gloom, that this is negativity, that I don't know what I'm talking about, even though I'm reading this stuff right off of, you know, The Hedge, I'm reading stuff off of CNBC, Bloomberg, Fox Business, Wall Street Journal, etc. These people that don't believe this, who will criticize it, judge it, these are the people living in their mom's basement. These are the most broke people with no money, no savings, and of course, no skill sets. And they're, of course, the most frightened right now. They're the most nervous and scared because they even understand now that they're screwed. They're in trouble because they have absolutely nothing. They've blown their money. They haven't saved any money. They haven't acquired any skills, and they know that a very, very tough time is coming, and they're going to have a very difficult time dealing with it. So if this is you, you better get your butt in gear right now. Don't worry about me. I sleep really good at night. I have no debt. And that's not to be braggadocious. That's not to say that I'm better than anybody. But I make the sacrifices like many of you out there have. Many of you write me daily that you paid off all your credit cards, you paid off the cars, you paid off the house, you paid off the debt, and you're sleeping really good at night. And that's the goal, to not be a debt slave, not to not be a renter serf. And there's only one way you can do that. You got to work hard. You might have to work 2, 3, 4 jobs, whatever it takes. You're going to have to make sacrifices, cut the vacations out, cut the fancy dinners out, you know, cut the social life out. Too many people who have absolutely nothing are going to be going out tonight on Saturday night, running up a $100 tab at the bar or going out to dinner. If you want to get ahead, this is the time to do it right now. You got to be preparing. Here's one from Market Watch. Are inflation and debt pushing you to raid your retirement savings early? You're not alone. We have so many people now dipping into the retirements. You know why? Because they have no savings. No savings means these people now have to dip into the 401ks and the retirements. What happens when these people have no retirement and no savings? What happens then? Another question I ask all of you, comment down below. What happens to people when the retirement's tapped out and the savings is tapped out? What is going to happen? I will say this. I'll give a little bit of advice today. Just my opinion. Don't depend on the system. Don't depend that Social Security is going to be there for you. Don't depend that your 401k is going to be there for you. Don't depend that even your pension is going to be there for you. I was watching a video yesterday of one of these yellow trucking drivers who just got notified that he's not going to get his pension. 30 years he worked there, and he's got absolutely nothing. He's going to have to work the next 30 years to survive. Think about that. All these promises made, and now many people are going to find out the hard way that they're going to be left with nothing. Don't depend on the pensions, the 401ks. Don't depend on Social Security. You better be right now proactive and saving and preparing for your own retirement, for older age, because the system ain't going to be around for you. It's breaking. Don't depend on the system. The system is collapsing right now. If you cannot see the warning signs right now, I feel sorry for you, because you may be working another 10 years going, oh, I'm going to get my 401k in 10 years, or my pension and Social Security. And inflation is going to be much more then than it is now. And what if you work for another company like Yellow Trucking and they said, hey, thanks for the 30 years, but your pension's gone? What if you're lucky and you get 50% of your pension, but inflation is much higher? Social Security, they say pretty much it's going to be bankrupt. This Ponzi scheme will be bankrupt by 2034. I mean, don't put all your eggs in one basket, ladies and gentlemen. Think for yourself. Prepare yourself. This is why, I think it's important to not have debt, have some cash put away, to have assets put away like gold, like silver, maybe some income producing properties, things of that nature. Again, I don't give financial advice, but you got to start thinking outside of the box right now. You cannot wait for something bad to happen. You got to be proactive. Here's another one from Fox Business. Property insurance going up or away for many in brewing crisis. Auto insurance also going up. State Farm, Allstate farmers not writing new business in the state of California. 7 issuers declared insolvent in the state of Florida. So record natural disasters, risk exposure, economic and societal pressures, all reasons why they're packing up and leaving some of these states. All of this is putting pressure on these insurance companies. Auto insurance, home insurance, all going up. And on top of that, not just insurance costs, right? How about gasoline costs, utility costs, food? Your auto payments are going up. Average auto payment now on a new car, $750, 18% of new cars. People are paying $1,000+ a month for that. And their insurance is going up. To put the gas in that car, going up. Maintenance, repairs, cost on those automobiles, going up, etc., etc., etc. You see where this is all going? Do you see inflation coming down? I sure don't. I see prices going way, way up. Your dollar is going to continue to buy less, ladies and gentlemen. World food prices jumped most in 18 months. This is on the Hedge today. This is going to cause more economic instability for the average American and emerging markets across the globe. This is going to hurt everybody, and it's really hurting the poor in this country, and it's really beginning to hurt the middle class in this country. Here's one from Fox Business. Former Anheuser-Busch executive warns thousands of more employees will be laid off amid sales slump. Another question to all of you. You're very bright, you're very smart, and I enjoy the comments. I read as many as I can, and my family reads them, and my friends read them, and people I don't know read them. And there's just so much wisdom, so much knowledge in those comments. So many people read those comments. They're the best comments on YouTube, hands down. But answer me this. What happens to these people from Anheuser-Busch, thousands of more people being laid off? How do they pay their mortgages now? Oh, yeah, well, yes, of course, they have a 3% mortgage, so they can't sell. You can't sell until you're forced to sell. And this is when I watch these financial channels on the television, and they're just saying, look, nobody's going to sell their house because they got a 3% mortgage, so they're just going to sit tight. They're going to sit tight until they lose their job. They're going to sit tight until they wipe out their retirement or wipe out their savings and go, hey, maybe we're going to have to sell something and raise some capital. Maybe we're going to have to downsize, but we're going to have to sell something. Our car's about to be repoed. Maybe we're going to have to sell the house and move into something smaller like a condo or an apartment and save our car so we can keep working and taking the kids to school. My buddy Mike, talking to him earlier today, said he was at the Walmart 5 minutes from my house here, and he said, one of those F-250s with a hook on the back came cruising through the parking lot the other day and just hooked a car and took off right there in broad daylight, hooking another car at a Walmart. That probably happens every hour at a Walmart, because you're looking at 25 to 30,000 auto repos a day in America, yet you're being told, you're being sold this fallacy that, or fantasy that everything is okay, yet they're repoing 25 to 30,000 cars a day. I'm seeing regular gasoline out here at $5.69 and everything is okay. Wells Fargo customers report missing direct deposits from bank accounts. A lot of people have been talking about this. My question to all of you is, why is your money in Wells Fargo? Why is the majority of your money in the bank, period? Any bank. Now, look, if you're doing some type of business and you have to have some money in the bank, you run a business, I understand that. But if you don't have to have a large sum of money in the bank and you're not running a business, why do you have most of your money in the bank? When are you going to learn your lesson that banks cannot be trusted, that there is serious counterparty risk leaving your money in a bank? And, the answer to that, some people will say, well, keep it in multiple banks. So you're still in the system, ladies and gentlemen. Keep it in 3 banks. Well, you're in the system 3 different ways. Do you trust you more, or do you trust the bank more holding your money? That is the question. I think people better wake up and realize they should be their own central bank. The best way to take the power away from the bank is get your money out of the bank and be your own bank. Take some of that cash, buy some gold, buy some silver. That is another way to empower yourself and take some of the power away from these banks. But people just believe they have to have all their money in the bank because it's safe there. Although one glitch, one cyber attack, one press of a button, and your money's gone. So think about that. We talked about this yesterday. I want to touch on it one more time. New York City out of control as Twitch streamer arrested for inciting a riot. We talked about this yesterday. 5,000 maniacs fighting with the cops. Nearly 100 people injured now. I guess because they were told they were going to get PlayStations. They didn't get a PlayStation. People went absolutely crazy. They were destroying businesses. A business owner weeping, crying, basically lost everything. They destroyed his business. These maniacs, losers, jumping on people's cars, smashing their windshields, smashing the windows out of their car, destroying their cars. This is something somebody worked for, had to work hard to go buy a car. This is their lifeline to get to work every day. And these losers just jump and destroy somebody's car. Now somebody can't go to work. I mean, I've never seen anything like this in my entire life. And I think if you spoke to your parents or your your grandparents, they would say they never saw anything like this either. Just the pure disrespect of the law, of other people, of other people's property. It's just a disgrace. And I'm sure the world is watching this going, when is America going to fall? When is America going to be judged for all of this? I mean, I just cannot believe what is happening to society here. It is literally, no doubt, spiritual warfare. And I'm going to close with this last article, which kind of ties into spiritual warfare. Americans are losing faith in the afterlife. They're losing faith in God. It says belief in God has fallen from 90% in 2001 to 74% in 2023. Now, just because you believe in God doesn't, mean that you're living the Word of God or living by the Word of God, of course. But people at least could acknowledge that they had a belief that there was a God. In 2001, 90%. So that number now down to 74% in 2023. And I think it's actually much lower than that. But I would say this in closing. I think this is the worst possible time in your life, maybe the worst possible time in American history, to lose your faith in God. We are seeing spiritual warfare take place right before our very eyes right now. This is not in another dimension. This is happening right now in the third dimension, right in front of your eyes. We are watching spiritual warfare take place. You know, people will say, I don't believe in God. How do you know there's a God? And I would say one reason, first of all, I can look outside and I can see the sky, I can see plants, I can see the birds. I just saw Jimmy Nuggets snoring over here, so I know that God exists. But another reason, and something that really enforces my belief in God, is take a look at the amount of evil that we are seeing on the planet right now. Take a look at the amount of evil right here in the United States of America. Look at the demonic society and the demonic actions that we are witnessing every day. People just taking other people's lives for absolutely nothing, for entertainment, destroying cities, destroying property, attacking people. This is pure out evil. And you cannot have this much evil and not have God. God exists because you can just look at the amount of evil. And when you have darkness, you must have light. You must have light. When you have this much evil, then you have good. So there is no doubt in my mind, just from looking at the spiritual warfare and looking how much evil is running rampant in America, that God surely does exist. And it's more important than ever. As I leave you today, as I close this video, it's more important than ever. And look, I'm not a preacher, I'm not trying to be one, but I want everybody to get right. I want everybody to be prepared mentally, physically, financially, and more than anything spiritually. This is temporary, ladies and gentlemen. You have to know where you're going after this. And we're going to go into some really dark times, some very demonic times. We're going to see some real bad things happening, and you're already being warned about this. And so we can sit all day and talk about, having, bottled water and having, money and having all these preparations. And yes, that's all very important. But the number one asset, the number one important thing you better have right now is God, because you're going to need direction. You're going to need spiritual strength. And we are heading into something that we've never dealt with before. I don't care how old you are, you've never seen anything like you're seeing right now. From what's happened in Hollywood and the evil to music and how evil, and they don't even hide anymore. The demonic entities are running loose in Hollywood and music. They used to hide it, backwards masking, little symbols here and there. Now it is full blown in your face. They're not scared. They're not intimidated. They're more than happy to show you their true colors. And this is why we better get right with God. We better get spiritually strong. You got to get physically strong, and you better get spiritually strong. This isn't about having enough bottled water. It's not just having enough ounces of silver. It's not about having enough skill sets. Your main asset right now, before any other, is getting right with God, walking close to God, and asking God for direction and protection. Because this is going to get very, very spiritual. It's going to get very, very dark. And if you're not tapping into the ultimate power right now, you're going to have a tough time. You're going to really have a tough time, because you're going to be dealing with a spiritual side that most people just have never encountered before, that they don't understand. And if you're not walking with God, then you probably don't even understand what I'm talking about right now. So I'm going to pray, I hope, and ask everybody to pray for other people out there that just don't see the light here right now, see what's happening. This is the most spiritual time I've ever seen in the history of America. We are really at a breaking point. So I want everybody to get right with God. Number one, that's it. Before you do anything, make sure you get right with God. After that, get your body in shape, get your finances in shape, make sure you got some assets, make sure you got food and water, and everything across the board. But I really want to emphasize today about the importance of the spiritual side right now. And again, it's not always about the financial and the economics. We are dealing with something here, ladies and gentlemen, that you couldn't make this up in a movie. This is some real deep stuff. And we can tap into the most powerful energy in the entire universe, and that's God. So make sure that you're using it to your advantage. It's there. Why are we not tapping into it? Why are we not getting stronger? Why are we not defeating evil? Tap into it. I'm going to leave it there today. Have an incredible weekend. Stay safe. And thank God for your families. Thank God that you're eating today. Thank God that you could even watch this video, and that you're up and walking today. We're very, very blessed, and we're here for a reason. You're here for a reason. I'm here for a reason. And before I go, I want to make one last point. You are not alone. I see exactly what's going on, just like all of you see it. And I know a lot of people out there think that they're alone. They think that they're the only ones that see what's going on, that nobody understands what's going on. Nobody sees what's going on, whether that's financial, whether it's spiritual, whether it's with the societal breakdown. I see it. The people in the comments see it. You're not alone. There's strength in numbers. We got to stick together. We have to support one another, pray for one another, because you never know. I may need your help one day. You may need my help one day. This is a very tight community. We shouldn't be judging one another. We should be coming together. We should be building one another up, strengthening one another. There is strength in numbers, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to leave it there. God bless every one of you. Have a great weekend. And always, as always, I look forward to speaking with each and every one of you. Comment down below. Let me know your thoughts today. God bless.